glyphosate, 2,4-D, atrazine, and other chemicals in it. Also nitrate from the groundwater, and I showed you the study by Warren Porter from Wisconsin, essentially your neighbouring state, and that is typical of the groundwater in the US and the problems that occur when pregnant women drink it. So, look, it's a massive issue, but I think what we have to do is, why I think it's so important that we actually demand organic food is that we actually use our power as consumers to change farmers, that farmers are prepared now to grow organic food because they can make more money out of it. There's an incentive that their farms are more viable. To me, that's one of our greatest bits of power, is to do it. The other one, legally here in the States, and in my country and other ones, they shouldn't be overspraying. They're not allowed to. But it just seems to be so difficult to take court cases, and when court cases are done, they usually tend to be quite inconclusive. So I just think really probably education and getting the message out, and where possible, buy organic, build that market up. It's a $37 billion market here in the US now. It's still growing to the point where, hopefully farmers here realise that it is more profitable for them to be organic farmers than to grow GMO soy or maize.
You said earlier in the beginning that looking at competitive yields and all for organic. Are you talking about traditional cash crops here, corn and soybeans, or alternative crops?
Okay, the data which I've got for the US, I'm looking at soy and maize because they're the major two crops here. So I think it's very important that we compare like with like. So we now have very good data that after about 5 years, organic can get the same and higher yields, and particularly in extreme weather events when you have drought years or heavy rain, we've got good data showing that organic is higher yielding. So, but we also have a lot of other data from around the world where we start looking at other farming systems. For instance, while here in the States we're looking at, particularly in drought years, up to 30% higher yield for organic, but in most years, 5 or 10% higher than organic than conventional. In places like Africa and the developing world, where the traditional agriculture is very low yielding, when we teach them good organic practice, yes, in many ways they're organic, but they're not using compost, they don't have very good weed control or pest management, and we start teaching them good practices. On average, one of the studies we've got by the United Nations Environment Program and the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, and they looked at 116 projects in 24 countries in Africa, covering 2 million hectares, which is about 5 million acres, and 1.9 million farmers. And they found on average they had a 116% increase in yield. Now that takes them from food insecurity in times of the year what they call hungry seasons, where they don't have enough food, to a food surplus. They can now send their children to school, and in particular the girls to school. If they've got enough money to send a child to school, it'll always be the boy and the girls miss out. This way they've got enough money, they can send all the children to school, they can pay for medical care, they can build decent houses. I think one of the stories which you don't even think about, because we always talk about production. We forget that it's about people and communities. And one of the stories that touched me the most was in Tigray in Ethiopia, a place where thousands of people died of famines in our lifetime. And I heard the story how now the women could afford to buy nice clothes, because before that they basically had torn rags and they felt indecent and they couldn't socialise. And now because the women can socialise, you get this sense of community and this vibrancy and light and happiness. Children are returning now to the villages because they can do things like raise, beehives and sell honey. They've now got a future, and it just revitalises these communities. To me, this is, I suppose, in terms of what we're doing, one of the most satisfying things, because we've now worked with hundreds of thousands of farmers, but we need to scale it up to hundreds of millions. That's what we need to do.
So is your federation working with farmers to educate them as to how they can make more money being organic farmers than not? That's one of the things that your organization does?
Yeah, and we work at every level. We work with the smallest smallholder farmers in the developing world through to, in 2 days' time I'm in New York with Ban Ki-moon and the United Nations. So we work at every level. My favourite actually is on farm, and I'm a farmer, that's why I'm most comfortable. So everything in between, we work with ministers, we work with governments, because we're an umbrella organisation.
Because a number of us have for a long time wanted to address the farming community around us, even for miles around us, and inspire them with facts about how they can be more profitable if they go non-GMO and organic. Do you already have documents put together in pamphlets that would teach them how to make their farms rich and profitable?
It's one of the things I used to do, and I still do, is I train farmers in how to make the farms profitable and how to do it organically. So I'm happy to actually, if you wanted to arrange a workshop like that, I'm happy to do that personally.
That'd be wonderful.
Yes.
We need to have you back here soon. Warmer time of year.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the winters, but I love Ireland in the summer. Coming from the tropics.